Welcome back once again to Wells's math class. I'm glad you came to see me for a little help on the problem that you're working on. So we want to get you kind of moving on this with adding or subtracting fractions and give you some help with that, and then send you back to do some practice problems. Remember, when you're doing practice problems, be sure that you use that similar exercise function to do the problem 2 or 3 times to make sure you get a good feel for how to work out that problem. Okay, let's take a look at this. First, I want to give you a list which you should capture in your notes that would be very helpful as far as a process for adding or subtracting fractions. First of all, I think when you've got a problem like this, 5/12 plus 7/18, and it's written in what I call line form here, going across the page. Personally, I think column form is better. That format is better for me, so I would rewrite that problem, 5/12 plus 7/18, in that format right there. Got 2 or 3 reasons for doing that. One is when I'm adding and subtracting fractions, I automatically use column form. When I'm multiplying and dividing fractions, which is really different than adding and subtracting, I automatically use line form. So my mind will think different ways depending on how I set the problem up. So when I see column form, I'm thinking about the processes of adding and subtracting, and I won't get it confused with multiplying and dividing. So I love column form here. Now, the next thing I need to do is find the least common denominator for these 2 fractions. Well, my denominators are 12 and 18. And so what I want to do is I want to find the LCD for 12 and 18. So I'm going to use my upside down division here, using my primes, starting with 2, 6, 9, 2 again, 3, 9. Can't use 2 now, I use 3. That'll get me a 1 and a 3. And then I'll use 3 one more time, get me a 1 and a 1. So my LCD here is going to be 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. When I multiply 2 times 2 times 3 times 3, what I end up with out of all that is 36. Alright, so once I've found my least common denominator, in this case 36, I'm now going to set up equal fractions with that new denominator. So here we go, equal fractions, 36, 36. I think you're seeing now one of the reasons I like this column form here, to set this up right across here and then find this other number, this new numerator. I think this column form makes that a little bit easier for me. Okay then, so once I've set this up, what I want to do is find the new numerator. What is it I would have to multiply 12 by in order to get 36? Or in other words, what's 36 divided by 12? Well, it's 3. So this would be times 3. So I'll do the 5 times 3, and that'll turn to a 15. What would I multiply 18 by to get 36? Or what's 36 divided by 18? Well, that's 2. So 18 times 2 would give me that 36. And then 7 times 2 would give me a 14. So now I've got these new fractions that are like fractions. They have a common denominator. So I can simply add these new fractions. I will keep that denominator at 36. I'll add the numerators. 15 plus 14 is 29. And I have an answer. Now I do want to check that answer to make sure that I can't do any more simplifying. I'm trying to think, is there anything that goes into 29 that also goes into 36 that would simplify this? And I say no, there's not. This is simplified and ready to go. So that's why I say over here, simplify if possible. Sometimes it'll be possible, other times not so much. Okay, so I'm so glad you came to see me so I could teach you about adding and subtracting fractions. By the way, the subtraction works exactly the same way. It would just be a subtraction instead of an addition. If this had been a subtraction problem, it would be 15 minus 14 here is 1 over 36 instead of an addition problem. So we cover both in one problem right there. So you go back to your practice now. Do as many as it takes in that similar exercise function to practice and get used to how do we do adding and subtracting fractions and all of this good stuff. And I am so glad I could help you, and I will see you again next time.